Generals gathered in their masses. Get out of the way.
Hello, welcome to Office Hours with Amber. I'm Amber, and it is allergy season here in Michigan. I'm going to make sure this audio is working, but I am struggling. There's a lot of pollen in the air. Hello, okay, audio's good. We're alive, we're awake, we're here, we're excited. I had quite the weekend. Big shout out to my mom and my sister and my niece and my friend Laura, who helped me with getting unstuck with the project presentation that I had been working on. I hear a banjo near me. Where are you? Oh, there he is. He's okay. I'm distracted. Ooh, speaking of which, perhaps medication. Last week on Office Hours of the Amber, I just kind of ranted about coming back home to the ideas that I had last year. Oh, Mr. Banjo. I don't know if you could see him. Special guest, Banjo Johnson. Last week, I kind of came to terms with, wow, Amber from last year had a lot of good ideas with Office Hours of the Amber originally. The original structure of Office Hours of the Amber was 4 weeks. First week, I would choose a goal for the month. Week 1 would be learning the concept with YouTube, ChatGPT, Google. Week 2 would be applying that concept to something I'm really facing in my real day-to-day. Week 3 is consulting with an expert or someone more professional than me to be able to get some feedback, ask some questions, work through some stuff, create some creative accountability. And then week 4, I would do a community call where everyone who is achieving and working towards their goals in the Office Hours of the Amber community will come together and chit-chat about things like perfectionism and accountability and other interesting things. Last week, I dove into a little bit of what worked, what didn't, and today I'm going to be making my plan of, we know the last 3 months haven't worked out exactly the way I wanted. I have been starting a lot of projects, but not really finishing many, and I'm in a state of my business where I need to get some shit done. So, today, I think this is not medically advised, but... Peep the brand, night shift, because I be working the night shift. Mentally, cognitively, my brain works well on the night shift. And they're also coming out with a sleep little vial thing on their website. Keep you updated on that. But anyways, so today I'm going to be making my plan for Q2, and I'm going to be following my own advice. And the way that I consult with clients is a 3-step system. Let's see if these are working. 3-step system. If I sneeze, I have a roll of toilet paper right here. Don't at me. Don't at me. That's right, I see you. Anyways, I might, by the end of it, just have toilet paper right up my nose. Couldn't be bothered. I am riding on fumes. The pollen is taking me nearly out. Could I just get a allergy pill? Yeah, I could. But that would be too logical. So, you might also see in the thumbnail that we are announcing that this is Office Hours of the Amber season 1.5. And where does 1.5 come from? Well, I have a vague memory of this movie called The Lion King. And they had Lion King 1, Lion King 2. Don't know what happens in Lion King 2. Lion King 2, and then the next movie that came out was Lion King 1.5, which was basically a retelling of Lion King 1, but from Timon and Pumbaa's point of view. And we can kind of treat Office Hours with Amber kind of like that. Office Hours with Amber last year was very Excel focused, learning new concepts in Excel, but behind the scenes, I was still running and building my business. So this, I'm going to keep calling it season 1.5, because we're not quite all the way into engineering improv, and we're not all the way into back to the way Office Hours with Amber used to be, because we're going to kind of make something in between. And so what I'm imagining is the things that worked. I liked the month structure and knowing exactly, giving myself each week to kind of dive deeper into the concept. But what I was so overwhelmed by coming into this year was I don't even know where to start or which one to start with of the subcategories and subsystems of my business. I was like, everything feels like equal priority. So we're just going to put it in a wheel and we're going to spin and see what happens. So I'm going to still be spinning a wheel. I think what I'm going to do is, and we'll kind of get into this here shortly, but I'm going to take those subcategories in my business: sales, marketing, project management, service, pricing, training, whatever. I'm going to kind of brain dump everything I could possibly want to make a system for, or things that take innate amounts of energy. So creating my statements of work or project charters, A3s, things that like I want to build out. Ease. I'll talk about ease here in a second as well. Building those out so that when I'm selling my service and I'm going into these projects, I'm not nervous about the shortcomings of the future systems, because right now I have no doubt in my ability to be able to implement really big change and build crazy Excel tools and be able to help organizations find the right metrics to drive the right actions to achieve the right goals. I have no doubts in my mind about that. My doubts with myself is, if I was to get 3, 5, 10 clients at the same time, would I be able to not waste a load of time nitpicking and triple guessing myself on my statements, the repeatable steps of my system? Like, yeah. So anyways, today we're going to be doing the 1.5 Office Hours with Amber season 1.5. So a lot of this is just going to be me kind of muttering to myself and brainstorming, but yeah, I encourage, if you are watching this, I would encourage brainstorming what are subcategories or things that you're it doesn't have to be business related. It could be just, what are things you want to accomplish in the next 3 months, or interested in learning more about, or things in your life that you've been avoiding because it's difficult. What are those kinds of subcategories? Like, what you could do is sticky note exercise. Basically, take sticky notes like schwa. Write down every single thing you could possibly want to make easier for yourself. You're interested in learning about whatever. Sticky note, write them all down, put them on on your table. Then look at all the different sticky notes you have. From there, and realistically, I should do the example live. We might. Who knows where we're going to go? What I'm suggesting to you is sticky note, write down all the things that you could possibly want to learn, what you've been avoiding because you know it's a difficult thing to learn. Write them all out. Then look at all of the things you have on your desk and then see if there's kind of patterns and subcategories that emerge. What I found last year is that a lot of the things that I needed to focus on were sales and administrative related. So I've already kind of we might do a sticky note exercise together here, because I keep trying to skip steps in my own process of breaking down this problem, but I already know that there's a few glaring things that I should pay attention to first. But I digress. Anyways, thank you for being here. If you're watching currently or afterwards, if you are interested in learning more about Peach Profitability, if you want to do something similar to what I'm doing on this stream, there's 2 links in the bio. One is for like a 15-minute consultation, like a little cutie get to know each other, if you're not quite sure if working together makes sense. And then there's another one where if you want to pick my brain about something you've got going on at work, something you need help untangling, there's another link where you can book a full hour instead of the 15 minutes to really dive into it. But with that, I digress. I had 4 more things to tell you, but the other funny thing about Lion King 1.5 is that it's kind of a funny spin-off of the first season. And what I found this weekend, I was trying to do a PowerPoint, and what I realized is if we take the hypothesis, oh my God, I think I'm having a stroke. The hypothesized equation for growth is value, accountability, novelty, capacity divided by fear. Oftentimes, when there's too much pressure on a task that you're assigned, it's like a fear response of the pressure's building. I need to get this done. Why can't I just get this done? You know? To combat that, I Googled what are ways that I could make this task less seriously and create some novelty. So kind of I gamified a few bits of it. So if there's a task that you're avoiding, which what we're about to do, I have been avoiding. What I found is if you just narrate what you're doing out loud in an accent, jostles the brain just a little bit to kind of wake you up and be like, Amber, none of what you're doing is that serious. But it's tough when you're you are a serious person, but then you get into the middle of it and you're like, we just need to like cool off a little. So, man, these allergies have me talking in circles. Okay, I digress. So the 3-step approach that I take with all businesses, myself, I use this for myself all the time, is 3 steps: align, assess, advance. And so alignment comes down to, what do we want? What is the actual goal? Pretty point blank. And you'd think, why is that such a big step? Because sometimes, even if you know what you want, if you have a team or if you have a partner, do they know what you want? Have you communicated the goal? For the people that have impact on that goal, have you told them? And you'd think that you might be saying to yourself, Amber, yeah, like, no shit. That's actually widely not ignored, but forgotten about. Because we think that if we say it once, it should just stick. And there's 2 words that I just said that I hate: should and just. It should just stick, which is so riddled with shame. We don't mess with that anymore. What I've learned from my girl Jen Magley is you can say what your goal is every single day, and if people don't want to listen, don't listen. But your psyche and your nervous system kind of has to keep hearing about it. And so the weird thing is as much as align, assess, advance, alignment is number 1. It is the first step any project you ever do. What is the goal? What are you actually objectively solving? What I found is even myself, with that all entirely in mind, lost track of the plot so easily. And I'm very pedantic when it comes to words because words have such serious impacts. So to start, I did some soul searching. I've done some soul searching for the last few years, and what I found is that the more, and this is in the mixture of values assessment and goal alignment. So my goal, what I've found is that I value helping others. And what I found is to help more people, I need my business to grow, to be profitable enough. And we'll talk about profit in other ways, not just financial. I need this system to work well so I can continue to help more people. The more that I started to turn the goal into being financially stable, aiming for oh my gosh, Banjo, you're so grumpy. That startled me. What I recognized is when I first started my business, it was to help more people do more with less or live easier, more empowered lives. Banjo's gonna keep barking. That's just a part of the show. My purpose is to help more people live the way they want to. So maybe they like working as many hours as they do, but maybe we can make it easier on their bodies, easier on their minds, whatever. Maybe people like challenging problems. Maybe we could make it more sustainable. I want to help people live the lives they want to live. I do that through the application of industrial engineering, systems, continuous improvement, etc. Now, last year, I started to lose a little track of the plot because I was sucked into this scarcity mindset of, if I don't have enough money to keep things going, or if I don't have enough projects, or if I don't, you hear how bullshit that is? It just sounds like it's circling the drain. So why would that attract the things that I want? So it is an active practice to stay in the abundance mindset. And I know this is an engineering live stream that I'm talking about feelings and values, but it's called peachy profitability. Profitability is the technical engineering, the systems and the mechanical parts of it. The peachy is the warm, fuzzy, happy people part. And if you do not have both, it does not make sense. And what's happened is I've focused so much on the mechanical part for so long that I lost track that there's a person in here, the person that has to run the business. And if the business fails, it's because of me. So I digress. The goal started to drift away from help it, like, and this is where I'm even reading my goal statement here and it's silly, but anyways, I'm gonna show you stuff now. Apologies in advance. Okay, so basically we have align, assess. So align is, what do we want? Let me zoom in. What do we want? Assessment is, how far are we from getting that? And advance is, how are we going to get there? So when I work with clients, basically we align on what the goal is. And the other thing about that is, if you're a team of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, easy, we're in a room. But if you've got a team, like I've seen corporate teams where Anheuser-Busch did a really great job of the top, what are their goals, and how does that trickle down all the way to the entry-level workers, and how do that each person in that organization knows exactly how they impact the entirety of the business's success, which I think showed me from a very early part of my career that it's super possible that with the proper mechanisms in place, everyone can row in the same direction towards the same place. And I find kind of small mid-tier businesses, they think it's either self-serving or it's in bad taste to be like, oh, we want to drive towards this. It's like, no, there's ways to empower people to drive in the, like, we're all driving towards the same direction. So alignment, so sorry to keep coming back to it. Goal. What is your goal? What do you want? And do people know that you want that? Because the more you speak into existence, the universe just starts working for you. Assessment. This is where I start to look at people, process, technology, and routine. And based on the goal, what are the current people, process, technology, and routine in place? And how far away is that from what we believe will probably get us to that goal? Basically, what's missing from what we have, or what needs to be changed to be able to get there? Advance. That is like your normal plan, do, check, act. How are we going to get there? That is the actual plan of what things need to be changed when in my system for me to make that happen. Now, advance last year for basically in 2024, I did the align, assess, advance. I aligned that I wanted to improve my skills in Excel and empower people with data literacy and the skills to be able to edit data. Assessment was, I was missing 12 advanced features of modern Excel that were between me and being able to close the gap in that goal. And then the advancement, the plan, do, check, act, the continuous improvement of my Excel journey and being able to learn those new things was the Office Hours with Amber program. So And it worked famously. I learned 12 new things, or I developed knowledge in 12 areas, and I was able to qualify for the Microsoft Excel World Championships. Like, it worked. What happened this year is that I started trying to advance further, and it didn't have the right assessment of what I should be working on. I skipped that step entirely and thought, we don't need a plan for it. We'll just kind of make it up as we go. Don't quit your day job, Toots. Yikes. So, we're back in. Okay. So, what I've described as my goal is a 3 very simple goal. Profitable business with ease. And I made this pretty generic on purpose. Profitable breaks down into financially, energetically, ethically, emotionally. Profitable meaning, let's say, define profit. The advantage or benefit derived from a situation or action. So I kind of see it as what you put in, what you get out is more than what you put in. I don't know if I like the way I just said that, but basically the return on your investment of time, energy, ethics, emotions, like you're doing more good than harm in these areas. And I like to put it this way because financially, like, I need to be mildly profitable to be able to continue to, make this thing happen. Energetically, if I overcommit energetically, I'm going to burn out, which means it's not going to create sustainability. Ethically is I don't want to cut corners, lie to people. I don't want to do any of that nastiness. I just want to be ethically profitable and do more good for the world than bad. Emotionally as well, I want to make sure that and that's similar to energetically, but like, I don't want to come out the other end of my business and hate it. So, profitable. That's what I mean there. Business, scalable, repeatable system, independent of my ego and self. And I think that's important to say because the thing about a business is if it's hyper reliant on you, really, it just seems like, I know someone says like, oh no, it's not a business, it's just a job with no manager or something like that. But I would love to be able to build something that could repeat where I could have a sub consultant or like a secondary consultant or engineer work with me and then it work for them. Like I would love to be able to package this up and pass it on to someone else or package it up and have other people be able to do what I do. And really when I did a little exercise. I've got this wall. Oh, wrong way. This wall. Oh my gosh, my chair's stuck. Anyways, there's a wall behind here. And there's paper on that wall. And I did this exercise where basically it was the middle of the night and I just started writing things that I wanted to happen. And what I realized is I lost the train of thought. What was my train of thought? Scalable, past myself, swap me out, could still work. Yeah. Oh, that's right. So I wanted to be able to, at the end of each of the months, I want to be able to bundle my learnings and basically teach Amber 1 month ago something impactfully. And the essence of all of this really is that's kind of the essence also is the other kind of sub goal of the goal of this live stream is to empower and enlighten year ago Ambers, because I know they exist. There's a lot of late diagnosed ADHD, high achieving women that probably will get some sort of sprinkling of good ideas from this. And I would love to just help me a year ago and then continue it, like even Amber a month ago. And so it sounds self-centered, but it's more of I cannot be that. Whoa. I can't be like, I am not a sparkly snowflake that is one of one. Like, there are thousands of me out there. I have to find them, and that's okay. I am on the hunt, and I'm gathering them in a Discord called She's Got Projects. So if you're interested, as a late diagnosed ADHD woman with multi passions and a lot of skills and loves learning, then you feel free to comment or message me, and I will send you the Discord link. But the point of this live stream is to, one, achieve this goal of mine that I have here, but second, empower and enlighten and entertain year ago Ambers. Man, this allergy season is already kicking me. Anyways, so business, scalable, repeatable system, because I'd love to bundle this up and then give it to other multi-passionate people to start their portfolio careers and do stuff with that. Ease is kind of a mixture of those two, where I don't want to work more than 40 hours a week unless I want to. I don't want to be required to work more than 40 hours a week unless I have creative pursuits that I want to, but then that's not work. I don't like the requirement. I don't like being required to do anything, to be honest. And I also want to be sought out for my clarity, and I don't want to be sought out for my effort, because if people are only coming to you because you're a really hard worker, kind of counterintuitive. And I need to be honest with you guys. I'm an engineer, but I don't really value hard work. And I've told this before on the live stream, but I don't value hard work. I think hard work is a lazy value. And I'll kind of explain that. What I think is, if you value hard work, you never quite look further into continuously improving that thing. Because if you're working hard, then naturally something's hard about it. And that's where I think a values that I would rather see is ease and resilience. Because I am resilient, and I really admire and value resilience, being able to push through difficult things in the pursuit of ease. And that's where I think it's different. Is I think hard workers, having work ethic and working hard, I think is great. And that's a great attribute and characteristic of many people. But I don't value working hard. I value resiliently building easy systems. And that's like, if there's an industrial engineer or an engineer generally that really likes hard work, I kind of start to question, I'm like, what are you engineering? Like, if you're an industrial engineer and you're supposed to be making people's workload easier, just a take. Don't take it personally. Anyways, okay. So my goal statement is profitable business with ease. Super easy to remember. And then I can run all of my decisions through that. Does this seem energetically profitable? Or am I going to learn something? Is it worth the learning or the steep climb? Is it a financially smart investment of time? Business, is this a scalable, repeatable thing? Yeah. So, hi, Mom. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. So, alignment. This is what I am wholly aligned on for now. Because that's the thing is, I think another thing I've found while working with businesses is they'll set their goals in January and then watch them either succeed or fail all year, instead of changing from a goal that really didn't achieve what we were looking for. So for instance, something we did at Good Trade Depot, well, mildly. Production yield is a really good metric to to track and manage. But if it is consistently green, we need to dive a little deeper. Like if it's consistently if the goal is consistently being met, it's not really a goal anymore. It's just kind of an expectation of a good, like it's just business as normal. So it's kind of becoming a glamour metric. We need to make sure that it's monitored to make sure it doesn't go crazy, but we need to push further. So the new goal becomes, okay, are we producing when we say we're going to produce? So now looking into the forecast accuracy of production date, so then we can see, why are we producing 3 weeks later than we anticipated? How is that impacting the rest of the business and the fluctuation there? So then creating goal. I think the agility of aligned goals is important because you need to know when to pivot. And that is why we are in month 5 of the year, which is so actually, that's quite funny that I'm calling this like Q2 alignment when we're already like in Q2. That's okay. It's never too late. I encourage it's never too late to have New Year's resolutions and goals. So it's May. It's gonna be May. I did just add NSYNC back to my Spotify playlist. Ooh, I missed him. Anyways, so I would say never too late to reassess your goals, because if your goal isn't achieving what you actually wanted, realistically, goals are just words that it's an idea of what you want as the outcome. And so sometimes it's like your goal statement might actually be the prescribed solution that like your goal then becomes, what I see is sometimes people will say, oh, my goal is to have a financial forecasting tool that does this, this, this. Well, what you actually wanted was to feel stability and make sure there is security in your business. That's your goal, is I want our business to be stable. The financial tool is the means to the end of how to get to that goal and achieve that. So sometimes I find, even with myself, I will say a goal statement, but it's actually a prescribed thing that I think will achieve some sort of benefit to me. But it took me many iterations of profitable business with ease to understand that what I'm lacking right now is ease and stability. Think people need to make more obtainable goals. I agree. And that's where there is also different levels of goals. And so that's where there's the SMART goals. It's a acronym. So SMART goals. I think it is specific, measurable, attainable, like actionable, relevant, and realistic, and time bound. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. And so what I'm actually giving, Mom, you bring up a good point. I'm bringing up more outcomes, or rather emotional outcomes, whereas goals really traditionally should be in this SMART framework. I'm trying to zoom in on one. So let's put this in here. Let's bring you to the front of the class. So, oh, come on. Okay. So being able to say, like with the way that mine is structured right now, profitable business with ease, you can measure progress on profit. Achievable. I believe it's achievable. It might be the perception of achievability. Relevant. Does your goal align with your business? Yes, obviously. Make sure the goal has a deadline. So technically with this, clear, concise goal. So I would say that this, realistically, SMART goals are most usually like, I want to increase production yield from 5%, 95% to 98% within the next 6 months. That's a SMART goal. Like, through that framework, because you're putting a timeline on it, you're putting the actual numbers of what you actually want to achieve. It's relevant to the business. That is a SMART goal that you can track around. And the reason why I defined what profitable, business, and ease mean for me is because then, Control Z, because this is my goal for the year. Oh, hi, mister. Oh, it's raining. Oh my gosh, I love a sunny rain. I don't know about you guys. So, with this, so the deadline is a year. Basically, create profitable business with ease in the year, and then measuring progress. That's where the measuring the progress comes down to these three things. So that's where I can create the mechanisms to be able to track. Okay, financially, that's pretty point blank. You can measure that. Energetically, that's where I can kind of do a mock audit with myself each week to say, hey, check in. How am I doing? Really, all three of these. And even the ethically becomes the filter in which I make my decisions of, does this provide net positive value for humanity? Yes or no? If no, don't fucking do that. Anyway, scalable, repeatable. So these are all filters in which I can ensure and measure my progress against. Now, ease, requiring 40 hours a week or of work or less, that's a measurable thing. So although, oh my gosh, it's really raining. That's crazy. I should close the window. None of my business. Okay, anyway, so Mom, you brought up a great point, because sometimes if you don't actually know the SMART framework, you might miss specificity, measurable, achievable, etc. Okay, anyways, I'm putting that over here. Mom, great point. Matt, speaking of the goal, the goal book, I encourage everyone to read this book. It's called The Goal, and it is 1 gazillion years old. I think it's in its 40th year anniversary, but they talk about, it's really nice. How to describe. If you read a self-help book, when you read a self-help book, it's, you should do this, implement this. La, 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 la. Here's why. The nice thing about the book called The Goal is that it puts you in the perspective of when you're reading self-help books or business books or any kind of nonfiction book, it's talking from the author's perspective, and it's a lot of you should. And the problem is, when you're reading those, you're like, they could never possibly know how much pressure I'm under. They could never possibly know what I'm going through. Now, this book called The Goal, that is where it's this guy, what's his name? I can't read. There's this guy who is running a facility, and everything's going wrong. There's bottlenecks everywhere. And they're on the verge of going bankrupt or like closing or something. I haven't read this in a while, but it puts you in the perspective of a person that's in probably a shittier situation than you. And then through him talking with his mentor and having these meetings and implementing these things, you kind of go through the story with him. And then that's where you can, it's easier to get in the van to go on the journey of the story. I know, Mr. Banjo, we are so gumpies today. Tell our fans, all of our friends, about how you feel about the rain. Incredible stuff. Thank you, Mr. Banjo, for being a feature on today's episode. Okay. We're back. But I encourage you guys to read it. It's a great book. Okay, assessing. So the goal, profitable business with ease. What is missing from my business that is preventing me from doing that? And I would say my system subcategory. So realistically, normally I would look at people, process, technology, routine. The two primary places that I think are up for debate or that are quite bad right now. Let's just make these all green, and then that one will be red. That one will be red. So what's happening right now is that there's one of me. So don't really have that problem. I mean, maybe sometimes that is the problem, but that is an immovable object. There's no money for a second person. So now what we could say is finding, like, the thing with people is finding respected perspectives and accountability. Oh my gosh, we're drifting. Let's make this not all capitals. Let's just make this black. We don't need all that on it. So I would say if we're really assessing, right now I am lacking respected perspectives and accountability, especially in marketing and other project managers, and finding other people that I can talk to that get what the fuck I'm talking about. But what I've found, Mom, if you're still watching, is that you can kind of manufacture respected perspectives in places you wouldn't have imagined. So I think we also, in the middle, like I was just saying about the self-help books, is you start to think, no one could possibly understand what I'm going through. No one could possibly understand the pressure. Well, if you believe that, then no one can help you. So what I found is I've been talking to my mom quite a bit lately, and she was saying, like we were talking about last week, is sometimes you just need you're in this like tight anxiety straitjacket you're in, and you need someone to just loosen it up a little bit. And so what was nice is that I was like, okay, I have accepted that I need help. So I drove down and we worked. I showed her the slides, and I was like, and then I said, whatever words of wisdom or your thoughts or what you like, what you don't like, just open the door for her to show up. Hey, Eric, nice to see you. I opened the door for her to show up exactly as she is, and I didn't have expectations. I just wanted to see where it went. And the nice thing is one is it decreased the pressure because I had someone else to see how my brain was all tangled up on itself. Two, it is kind of funny to talk to your family about work, because then you're like, I'm so sorry that I'm even bringing like it's a silly activity, but it wiggled my brain out of the seriousness of the gravity of what I was doing enough for me to like be able to take in her feedback and be like, if I was and what's nice about especially presentations and like art forms and like subjective things is, what's nice is I'm so in the middle of everything I do that I miss a lot of the common sense things, or like things that I assume are common sense. And so it's nice to be kind of questioned and ask questions, because that pulls information out and starts to shake things up. And similarly with my sister is, I was doing a revision of like an original deck that I already done. And so she helps by changing all the colors in the thing. And so what was nice about working with both of them is, even if they were to do something that I would have to fix later, fixing something is much easier than completely gutting and refixing something myself. And so all I say is you can manufacture respected perspectives in mildly unlikely places. Like I forget that I have friends and family that I can talk to about, like, nothing I do is like, oh my gosh, so serious or unrealistically hard to understand. So it's like disrespectful of me to not even have asked them in the past. So I'm like, wait a minute. So anyways, Mom, Jody, Laura, I appreciate you so much. So anyways, I need to continue. You are a great think tank. I need to continue finding respected perspectives and accountability in healing my ability to find those. The processes that I feel like I am missing, we'll talk about in the the subcategories. Technology, I have no worries on. I'm gonna always find what I'm looking. No worries. routine dependent on new systems. All must have a place. You could build the best tool in the world, but if you don't review it and use it, it's not going to do what you need it to. So, speaking of that, going back to the old YouTube. Also, if you're interested, I'll be doing more click around and find outs here shortly, but I've got playlists over on that one, and
I swear.
I'm gonna mute this. I've got playlists over there. There's one that's all ADHD tips and good videos, and I found the holy grail of all holy grails of systems and organization, like task initiation and project management. Like this is the best video that I have ever freaking found. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I love this video to my core. What she's saying in this is, so in here, she talks about, there's 3 levels of tasks. So she's got 3 levels of kind of systems management in her life. She's got level 1, and this is kind of managing things. So capture, how are you getting requests? Is it email, text, carrier pigeon, whatever? Events. When do you need to meet with certain people? How do you utilize a calendar to be able to remember when you need to do things? Tasks. These are things that you actively have to do and work on. Knowledge management. You don't want to keep all of your good ideas and your learnings in your head. That's why we take notes. That's why we have OneNote. That's why we have journals. That's why we have books. Like, how do you manage the knowledge that you take in? So level 1 is managing things. And then she goes into level 2, and I encourage you to watch the entirety of this. Because it's so good. And then here she talks about these are routines. So these are managing the routines that are attached to those things. Daily, weekly, seasonal, monthly, and yearly. And the nice thing about what she says in here is there's no redundancy. You're not reviewing, in your weekly review, you're not reviewing things from your daily review. Every sub-routine and system, every system doesn't overlap on top of each other. And so that's where I've been seeing similarly, and I'll show you my habit tracker here in a sec. Then her 3rd level is kind of managing different types of categories of, it's a connection of level 1 and 2, where she's talking about your financial system, your things system, like your like assets at your house, health and fitness, rest and recovery. So with all 4 of those, she has level 1 and 2 systems that add to that. So for instance, with financial system, okay, how are we reviewing the capturing of that data? What tasks, when on our calendar do we do our reviews of our finances, etc. But anyways, this is the best video I've ever freaking seen about the systems that go into that. So routine, if there's not a designated time to review or do the tasks that you need in your system, it ain't happening. Said what I said. Anyways, okay, we're back on it. So, routine, I do wholly love and respect a good routine, especially because it gives my brain space to not think about it all the time. And so, for instance, with my home routine on Sundays, I run the dishwasher and I run the laundry. Whether or not they're full or not, Sunday is when I do that. So all week, I don't have to have that little cognitive part of my brain being like, should we do laundry? Is it full? No, we don't have space in the brain. We have barely enough space already. And so similarly, I've got this app called the Habit Tracker. And so I've got achievable daily habits and goals that I have here and some monthly ones. And so, for instance, I want to point out, and I said this last week, walk Banjo to the mailbox. Based on even on my lowest day, it is not impossible for me to take that psycho little domesticated squirrel to the mailbox and back. Some days we might go on a mile. Some days we might go on 2 miles. Who's sure? But I set things in my daily routine to be able to track and manage those items. Do I do everything every day? No, but at least I see and I recognize it all sits here. Now, similarly, monthly, I do invoicing. We've got weekly, I'm reviewing like my tasks for the week. And so that's why we have this week of tasks. And then I have eliminated down to just 3 things that I'd like to achieve in each of the different parts of my business. Anyways, we're back. So basically I would look into people, process, technology, and routine. I think right now I'm lacking a lot of processes. And so that is where these system subcategories kind of come in. And this is what we've talked about a little bit over time. And I'm going to, I would say sales, left aligned, please. Prospecting activities and targets weekly. Sales, I also am missing clear pricing on, well, we'll say that's a marketing thing. And I get sales versus marketing. Marketing prepares the ground while sales closes the deal and makes them interdependent functions. Ooh, this is a good picture. Word of mouth. Referrals. I like this. Okay, anyways. I think what I'm finding is, so what I started doing over here is like sales, I'm missing what prospecting activities, domesticated squirrel. Yeah, Banjo, he's been much better lately. He has been so good on the leash. I can't even tell you. Okay. Sales, prospecting, my pipeline, lead generation. I feel like I'm missing some key systems there. Ooh. Okay. Big news. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. I have an idea. A lead generation tool that I think would be kind of fun and weird is offering a data janitorial service. What I found is I uniquely love being able to, you learn a lot by looking at people's file structures and what tools and documents they use frequently. And what I find is when you're a party of one, your file structure is kind of a mess. You're like, nobody's ever going to see this. It's like, who cares? But then you start hiring people and then it's kind of like company's coming. We got to clean the baseboards. We haven't dusted in a while and they're going to see the dead body in the closet, like you start shoving things in weird places. And so then your business gets a little larger. And now you have entry-level workers that are in your file system that have access to your legal documents, your financial statements, and all this stuff, but you can't move it because all of your Excel files and all of these files are all interconnected. And usually nobody in the company has the technical knowledge to be able to reconnect those tools that have moved, except for me. Dun, 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 dun. That's where I come in. Wow. Oh my gosh. What a beautiful angel queen princess girl. Amber's data janitorial service. And that is where, by me looking through and helping you digitally 5S your file system, I can then do diagnostics on your business, being like, hey, here's some technical gaps that I'm seeing in the functionality of your systems. Basically, every time I see you copy and pasting something into a flat CSV, pump the brakes. Export to Excel and copy and pasting things. It's a no for me, dog. You gotta just come on in. So I want to create like a data janitorial service. Then it's easier to pitch. Here's how I am directly going to help you instead of from the outside being like, hey, I could help with something. I'm sure. Let me dig around. It's like, no, let me actually provide you a meaningful service where at the end of it, you get a clean file system with a directory of all of your files. And, anyways, I've got ideas. Uh-oh, she's locked. Anyways, other thing is services. I think I go back and forth on pricing of if I should be super upfront and direct with my pricing or like, I don't know. I go back and forth. But if you're wondering about my pricing, basically for purely advisory services, that's like uh, general coaching, where it's just kind of like, how am I saying? I think it's just general advisory is $50 an hour. And I think the data janitorial service would be $50 an hour. And then if I'm getting into some sort of like project management, holding you accountable to some sort of goal, that get into the $100 an hour range. And then me doing individual services where I'm touching your Excel, I'm getting in the bones of it, I'm owning some of the results and getting you over the finish line with some tools, $150 an hour. That's what it currently is. No sense in hiding it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. But I want to be able to like bundle a service, being like, oh, digital 5S, sell it as a bundle of like 1 day of cleaning looks like this. I don't know. I hate all of it. Anyways, project management, I want to find the right tool to use. And that's where I'm like, I could build out the coolest Excel sheet, but I'm like, if there's any internal tasks that they need to be able to see, I don't know, I go back and forth. Marketing, I want to be able to quickly, and we talked about this, this was a kind of more of the recent engineering improv videos, is I want to be able to take the best parts of what I'm doing here and what I'm doing in my projects, script a video, and be able to create a training series or a bank of resources where you could watch a playlist and get the spark notes instead of having to sit through an hour of me yammering at the camera. Thank you guys for being here, and your participation is always very deeply appreciated. But for people that are trying to quickly run their business and learn things and be able to implement stuff, they don't want to sit through 52 hours of me yammering to get to the point. So I'm like, okay, how do I make that more accessible to year ago Ambers? That's the whole point. So anyways, in the last 4 minutes, what I'm going to say is what I'm doing is I'm continuing to build out my subcategories of what I want each month to look like. What I'm going to be doing is last year I was doing learn, apply, get feedback, community call. This month, what I think I want to do is I want to at the beginning of the month, spin the wheel, choose a topic for the month, because I want there to be some sort of novelty in like, what are we going to do? And what I might do is maybe have a bank of novel concepts to create constraints on my live stream or learning process to make it more fun. For instance, I want to be able to spin the wheel and be like, in this episode, I'm only supposed to, like, I can only talk with like a European accent or like some sort of English accent. Or maybe I could like add in, I can only whisper all episode or something silly to decrease the seriousness of what I'm talking about, because life's not that serious. So I am going to be ideating in the next week and then coming back kind of with something better, but I want to be able to learn, apply. I do want to get feedback because I want to find respected perspectives in the community so that everyone gets to learn from someone who's in sales or marketing or project management. I want to find cool people to show you guys and then show me and then make me excited to show them. And then that drives me forward. And then I want the last week to be iteration. So I got some quick feedback and then I actually close the loop. I finish something each month. And I want to be able the last video to say, hey, here's the journey we've been on all month and here's what I have to show for it. Because what's lacking in the system currently is that there's no finalcy. I just do something and then it drifts off into nowhere. So by giving myself 4 weeks to really attack a problem, let it orbit my brain, let me apply it, let me talk to someone who gets it, I think is going to be good. I just want to I still want an improvisational step there. So anyways, I think I need a nap. But anyways, if you've enjoyed this live stream, I suggest you should subscribe, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell or something. I don't know. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you have anyone in your life, or if you yourself are saying, man, I wish I had time to do blank, or there's got to be a better way to do blank, realistically, that's where Peachy Profitability and Office Hours of the Amber come in. So thank you for coming to the beginning of season 1.5 of Office Hours of the Amber. It's kind of, similar to The Lion King. It's just a goofy spin-off spoof of the first one. So really, we got to lean into how goofy this thing is. So anyways, I have no idea when this is going to cut off, because every time I look back at the video, it's always like, I'll be like, okay, but, and then it just shuts off. So anyways, everyone have a blessed Monday. I will be back. Oh yeah, I didn't even turn it enough. We've got, okay, this is where we're ending it. We've got a parrot and a flamingo. Okay, that's it.